2, 1. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Delusions of Grandeur. I am one of your hosts, and today myself and Boris, we are going to discuss another film that has to do with the haunted house genre. Uh,
Uh,
and
yeah,
it's
we could say so.
and it's a film that is more recent. It was filmed in 2012, and it is directed by Christopher R. Mihm. Um, and the film is called House of Ghosts. Here is what a copy of the DVD looks like. Got mine signed. So
Oh,
um, here's the back of it. And basically, if I remember correctly, his production company is called All for George Productions, with Saint Euphoria Pictures worldwide as the distribution name that he has put for his own distribution company. And that's that's the company that actually produces all of his films, and I believe it is actually all independently distributed by himself. He does everything. Um,
oh, cool.
Oftentimes, he will act and star many of his family members as well in his films. If you In any case, so let me do a small synopsis of what this film is about, and then I'll go
Okay.
into first impressions of the film. As Boris and myself, we just watched it together. It was just easier that way. Uh,
Yeah.
so,
Uh,
writer director Christopher R. Mihm pays tribute to the works of William Castle, the master of classic horror. Rich socialites have a tradition of throwing exclusive dinner parties. This time, they've booked a spiritual medium who promises to open a portal to the great beyond. Can the group survive the night, or will ignoring the medium's warning be the best thing they ever do?
huh, huh.
So, what were your first impressions of this film?
Well, this is the first time that we are discussing a movie right after I have seen it for the first time. So I have finished watching it right now for the first time. The impressions are very fresh, as fresh as they can be. And yeah, well, I must say I really enjoyed the movie, and it had some really good plot twists, which I had not seen coming at all. You heard my reactions. um, yeah, before we watched it, I read some reviews on IMDb, and apparently some people didn't really like this movie from what I saw. I must say I don't really understand why. Like I said, I really enjoyed it, and I really couldn't predict the plot twists that were to come. It was really good.
I as well enjoyed the film, and this is actually my second time watching it. My first time, I think I was very tired when watching it, and I watched it with my fiance. And now that I've actually had time to sit and watch some of what I missed, um, and I think that's why I didn't go on and review it right away either, because I needed to go back to it and watch it in its full um, entirety, and seeing that. I mean, it wasn't that bad. I mean, yeah, okay. Some of the acting was somewhat wooden, like the deputy. His character could have been. a bit better. He seemed like he was like the nerd that Christopher Mihm just kind of grabbed from somewhere, and he um, I guess he was kind of right for the role because he really wasn't there all that long, but it was just kind of nonchalantly like, and it's not anything against the guy because I think maybe that's how he talks anyways in real life. But I guess a little bit more enthusiasm from his part would have been a little bit better for his role. Other than that, everyone else seemed like they were spot on. One thing I wanted to mention is that Ursula, that it was she was actually played by Christopher Mims' real wife in real time. So I thought she did pretty good, even though she played an over the top kind of character. And I like the fact that this film kind of connects the monster from Phantom Lake, which we have already gone on about before.
Yeah.
And this is not the first film that we've actually watched this way and then gone on about it. I think it's like the second film that we have. I just don't remember which film. We watched so many.
Yeah, we have watched some movie before and then discussed it, but in that case, I had already seen the movie beforehand.
Correct.
This is the
This is
first
the first time that you actually get a fresh a fresh thought over process.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's look at the plot here. So apparently these evidently rich socialites, as the aforementioned synopsis had mentioned, have invited a bunch of people over, and it's a husband and wife, kind of a duo. And the one, she's like all about her dog, and the other guy, he just seems to be like a well-spoken host, you know, at least at first. So they both seem to have interesting personalities, to say the least.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about our host here? Let's see. I'm gonna see who he is. I think is it Harlan? No. Arthur. Arthur is played by James Norgard. And Arthur and Leigh are the two, the host and the hostess of the party. And it seems like we have an interesting cast of characters. We have Mary, who seems to be the washed out actress, who is played by Katherine Hanson. And Katherine Hanson has played in a number of Christopher Mihm films, Destination Outer Space, and after this, late night double feature, Demon with the Atom Brain, and Guns of the Apocalypse from 2018. But she's also played in a couple other things: Garbage Boy, a short film, The Horror, which was a film in 2017 as Emma Otten, and Health Freaks, which is a film from 2009. Those are non Christopher Mihm films. Health Freaks was a film directed by Jack Baranak. It actually looks kind of cool. Evidently, the synopsis of that film is: Alex and Joe are two best friends who fight with mutants, energy drinks, and Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, I wish I could find that one.
You don't have it in your collection yet.
Yeah. And
Oh,
I guess she's also in Profile of a Killer from 2012 and Death to Prom um, in 2014. So those are some of the other films. Oh, and Wasted on the Young from 2010. So, in any case, but that's enough of Kristen Hansen. What did you think about her acting ability in this film? I actually kind of liked her character. She and her um, director husband seem to argue with each other, and she seemed to have eyes for other gentlemen.
uh, uh, I'm sorry. The characters we are discussing are Arthur and Lee, right? Uh,
Um, actually,
I'm
well,
sorry, I got a little lost.
we are discussing Mary.
Ah,
Mary, her character.
oh, I'm sorry. Well,
I think Ray was the other character there, or no?
uh, Ray was the young guy who apparently lived with Harlan and who eventually ran out, and we know what happened.
Okay, so it's Isaac and Lay who are the hosts. I
Oh,
Isaac and Lay. It's Arthur and Mary who are supposedly married.
oh, I remember one scene. Well, this is the first time I watched the movie, so some things, some things I happen to forget after seeing a movie only once. But I remember one scene of husband and wife arguing, and it kind of reminded me of House on Haunted Hill.
Okay, kind of
uh,
like Vincent Price and Annabelle Lawrence kind of a thing,
yeah, yeah.
where it was tongue in cheek kind of um, you know, you knew that they hated each other, but in a sense, you kind of knew that they somewhat loved each other in a way.
Uh, yeah, well, that was there. In this one, we kind of had that impression, but not really as much as it was in House on Haunted Hill. But yeah,
In any case, what did you think about our hosts? I mean, to me, I thought that um, Mary, she seemed like she didn't really want to be in the relationship that she is in. She seems like she has some harboring thoughts on her husband's drowned career, where apparently he's like some kind of a B movie director, and evidently she's made about her, and it's like they're both kind of in the same situation. It's just one's an actress and one's a director, and they just so happen to be married to each other. Uh, what did you feel about their relationship to each other? Did you feel like they belonged with each other?
uh, well, I'm not sure. I mean, the guy was a filmmaker, and I could kind of put myself in his shoes, as I also made a movie and I interact with many filmmakers online, as you know. So I know for certain that if I was him, I wouldn't be happy to have someone I live with, someone supposedly close to me, insult my work like that. So, uh, no, I don't think they.
entirely belong with each other if they're that nasty to each other, and her
Yeah.
more so openly than him, apparently. So she's obviously got this whole attitude about her where she thinks she's like hoity-toity and she thinks she's all that, and she's thinks she's like top model or whatever, and she thinks she's got this sex appeal too because obviously she's started to hit on that young guy, a guy named Ray at the
Uh,
dinner table. So when they were at the table, all of these people, because apparently there is a woman named Ursula, a guy named Harlan as well, and all sitting at this dinner table for one of their so-called parties. And what they have in store is a medium coming. What did you think about when they said that there was going to be a medium coming?
I had read the synopsis, so I knew there would be a medium coming, but yeah, it was expectable that after the medium's visit or during the medium's visit, something would go wrong paranormally.
Okay, and but the medium wasn't the first person that showed up, was it?
Oh yeah, yeah, it was the deputy.
And he came to tell them what?
That it was raining and that it wasn't safe to go outside. And what what else did he say?
He basically
Um,
told them that he wouldn't suggest to go out anywhere because it appears that there's going to be a very bad storm out there, and so he basically told them that they're kind of stuck there for the evening. So not only is there a medium
mm,
on his way over to the home, they are going to be stuck there with each other for the night. So they won't be able to go out or nothing. They're kind of trapped where they
yeah,
are and with each other. And I'm sure, as with most dinner parties with friends and whatnot, sometimes you have some friends that you rather not spend the night with at all in any shape or form. Sometimes parties can be a little stuffy. Uh,
yeah,
Sometimes you invite people that you really don't want to invite, but you just invite them because your wife or your husband wants to invite them. So these are some people that obviously they invited over for this these festivities. What do you think about the group so far? Is
well,
it an odd group?
well, yeah, it is a bit of an odd group, but they were pretty amusing, I must say.
Well, I'm assuming that Harlan is a like a I think he's like a store owner of some sort because he said something to the deputy about once his wife gets back to her shapely form,
Oh,
to come and check out some of the latest fashions that he has.
oh yeah, yeah.
And Ray, he's a baseball enthusiast as far as we know, because evidently they were listening to is it, a baseball game between Monsters and I forget the other name of the team.
The yeah, I forgot it too.
But
There was
apparently,
some word.
expecting subject matter. I wondered where they were going to take that particular subject matter because um, you never know if they were going to go the way a way of where it could have been possible that uh, they were monsters in real life, and uh, they were listening to the outside world because they were monsters and listening to, you know, it could have been, and the outside world it could be the humans or whatnot, or I don't know. You never know if it could have been some weird situation where where they were just listening to, you know, a different world in a different dimension because this is a universe that Mr. Mim has created, and you never know what kind of monsters are going to show up in here. So,
Definitely.
but so after the deputy comes, then the medium shows up, and then they all go into the living room or the French room or whatever room, and there's this bingo looking like machine that looks like a crystal ball, and he tells them all to close their eyes with some thoughts that maybe that this guy is some charlatan who's trying to sell them something that really isn't what it is. And he tells them all to close their eyes, and then something happens. And then they open their eyes, and he's like, Okay, that's it. I'm done doing my job. The door is open. Now it's up to you." And so the host is like, "Well, wasn't there supposed to be something else?" Well, Lay was like, "Well, I thought something more was supposed to happen," and Ursula was like, "Well, I'm supposed to. I thought I was supposed to talk to my son," and uh, you know, they thought nothing happened. And then the guy left, and I believe it was Isaac who went out and said he was going to get a refund, and then he came back and
Hmm.
complained that he had a headache. What did you think about that?
Well, when he said he had a headache, I thought something had come to their world through the machine and attacked him. I thought there was some paranormal cause to
I
his
remember
headache.
your reaction, and I quote you. You said, "I don't. I had the sneaking suspicion that we're probably not going to see him again."
Yeah, I couldn't have been more wrong.
And you were right to a certain extent. I mean, he did
Uh,
come out for a little bit, and then, of course, they found him later on. But that's not neither here nor now. So apparently, all throughout, the actress and the director had mentioned a mother and putting her away in a home, and it just so happens that after a few drinks and a few giggles, there is a moment where Mary is left alone, and she keeps hearing her mother, and she ends up going and finding out more than she bargained for.
oh
What
yeah.
what did you think about that particular scene?
Well, I have to say it was, I would say, a properly creepy scene. I mean, after some previous scenes we saw, there were some goofy dialogues and everything, and it kind of gave the impression the movie wasn't going to be very serious. But then this happened. It was a bit unexpected after the more light-hearted atmosphere we had earlier. So when Mary's mother turned around and we saw she was some kind of skeleton ghost, it was pretty impacting.
Well, and somewhat before this, Ursula had been left alone as
Oh,
well,
oh yeah, yeah, that
and
was an interesting moment.
she ended up going up to wash her face or something like that, and apparently, Illy, she goes upstairs, and this is kind of where it connects with the first movie that we went on and talked about the monster from Phantom Lake, because
Yeah.
apparently, um, she is the mother of Michael Kaiser, the a man who ended up being the behind the mutated monster from Phantom Lake.
Uh,
Except we only see him in profile and see his dog tags and see his arms outstretched up until the very last moment where she where his mother finally sees him after she finally tells him that she forgives him. What did you think about that whole scenario there?
well, I have to say, I really find it interesting how they did this small yet solid connection between the two movies. Like, if we had not seen Monster from Phantom Lake, we would have had no idea why Ursula's son's face looks like some. Why it's overgrown with leaves and so on, but it would have been left unexplained. But since we have seen Monster from Phantom Lake, it makes perfect sense to us because we know what happened to the character.
Well, and the monster is no longer naked. It's actually clothed with Michael Kaiser's clothing. So,
Oh, good point. Yeah, I forgot that.
but in any case, the apparently, um, now if you don't know anything about the story of the monster from Lake, go ahead and check out our other discussion on this particular film. Um, it was kind of a slight musical and kind of
Yeah.
more all about the science of things.
Yeah.
Definitely an entrant, uh, and it would probably be better if you went and checked out our other conversation on that particular film. But I myself like the connection here. It was very subtle, and they introduced it in a way where at first you see her, and then that's when she screams, and then um, all the people downstairs who had evidently gone and started playing some tunes came up and found the percolating dead body of Miss Ursula and put her in a different room. And there are some comments about death during the initial dinner party, and then there's a few comments between the young actress Mary and her director husband, where she's like, "Well, why is she looking like that?" And he's like, "Well, she's dead. How do you expect her to react?"
Uh, yeah, some scenes like that were why I originally got the impression the movie was going to be much goofier than it turned out to be in the end. Like after that kind of dialogues, which gave a bit more of a dark comedy vibe. I didn't expect some more horror scenes like with Mary's mother and so on.
Well, yeah, it does have some humor in it. Like the dude Ray, he's kind of a kind of a duh. uh, well, he is. I mean, he's there for what reason? uh, he's
Mm,
just there to be silly, I guess, to me, because he's kind of a blonde idiot. One of those, he's dumb, but he's there for the dumbness. And I mean, he grows on you, I guess, because well, he ends up being kind of an interesting character in the end too. So
yeah. Yeah, well, I actually kind of felt sorry for him since the beginning when Harlan told his backstory.
what was his backstory again?
From what I remember, his parents kicked him out. It wasn't directly said why, but apparently because something about him went against their religion or something like that. It wasn't said what exactly, but we kind of got the impression that since he seemed very close to Harlan and the way he acts and everything, it's subtly implied that he might be homosexual, and that could be why his parents kicked him out.
Sorry about.
I'm sorry, I think we had some glitch or something.
Yep, we definitely had a glitch there for a moment, ladies and gentlemen, but that's okay. Uh, Boris here is all the way from Croatia, and that's quite a distance. So
Yeah, that's probably it.
bear that
Actually,
in mind.
yeah.
So you were just recently saying something about possible homosexual tendencies or something
Oh,
like that.
yeah, while I was saying that, I heard I no suddenly no longer heard you, and everything froze. That was when the glitch began. So what I was saying about Ray is, at the beginning we find out that his parents kicked him out for some reason, and he was homeless until Harlan took him in, and it wasn't said why exactly the parents kicked him out, but apparently because they were strictly religious, and there was something about him that went against their religion. It wasn't directly said what exactly, but since he seems very close to Harlan, and generally the way he acts is it kind of subtly implies that he might be homosexual, which would kind of explain why, if his parents were very religious, why they would react the way they did, as strict,
Possible.
yeah, as strictly religious people tend to be homophobic.
And ultimately, there is a moment where Isaac it cannot be found, and they've looked all over the house, Um, that would be Arthur and Ray, and they cannot find him. And so the only place that they have not looked is the basement. And Ray is extremely against going down into the basement because of the
Mm.
dampness or the spiders that he may think about not going down there. And what does Arthur find when he goes down in the basement? Things
Well,
get a little buggy, don't they?
yeah, yeah.
What did you think about that particular scene? Um,
Well,
I I thought that the special effects on that was actually pretty cool.
yeah, yeah, it was pretty gruesome, even if we didn't get to see much as it was dark and so on, but sometimes,
I mean,
like,
yeah, we get some rubber crawlies on some strings or on some wires or whatever, because you can honestly see that the spiders get dropped on the shoulder or this and that. But I could not at first think how the other bugs were getting on his face, and I think the fact that the lights were going on and off kind of played in on that factor. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, we don't exactly see what's happening, but we hear him say something like, not my ear, not my mouth, or something like that. I can't repeat it word by word anymore, but like I said, sometimes in horror, less is more. Like we don't see what's happening, but we hear what he says, and it makes us imagine what it looks like, and sometimes what we can imagine, what we can see in our minds, is scarier than anything we can see on screen. So
most
that was.
definitely, I mean, a movie that can make you rely on your imagination
Uh,
is something else entirely. And until you experience I mean, there are films that bring you to that brink. And um, so, were you terrified at that moment?
Yeah, especially because I really don't like insects in real life. So yeah, that was one of the nastier scenes to me personally.
Oh, you don't like the creepy crawlies?
Not in real
The ones
life.
that could come from the corner, go and crawl directly above you and drop down and say hello.
Uh, I only like the rubber ones that I have as Halloween ornaments, but real ones not so much.
So if a real one came down and dropped on your shoulder and was like, hello.
Uh, well, if it actually talked, I would be really surprised.
But no, my fiance, she's terribly frightened of spiders. So anytime a spider comes around, she'll be like, spider, 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 until I actually go and kill it. And I'm like,
Oh,
you actually want me to commit murder, like right now? I
uh,
mean,
uh,
I mean, when you go and kill a spider, aren't you killing it?
uh, yeah, well, I'm not necessarily in for killing them. I prefer capturing them and releasing them outside.
Well, she prefers for me to kill it. So most of the time, I try to go and feed it to my turtle.
Oh, oh, that makes sense.
But in any case, so after that, I mean, the hostess, she seems really attached to that puppy of hers, doesn't she?
Oh, oh, yes, yes.
And that particular species of dog is called a Western Highland Terrier. uh, otherwise known as Westie for short. I know this because my parents had one.
Uh, uh, the dog reminded me of the one we sometimes see in Joe Sherlock's movies. I'm not sure, is it the same breed or is it just something similar?
Not sure. All I do know is that it is a Westie, and my parents' dog, her name was Pandora. And All right, sorry about that.
Oh, uh, oh, hello. What happened?
It's storming over here. So, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize about the interruptions here. It is really bad storms. Must be the ghosts.
Oh, indeed, I was about to say.
So, how
Wow.
long have you been waiting? Were you still part of the stream or whatnot?
Yeah, I was going out and in. I was trying to figure out what's going on. I thought something might be wrong on my end, but
No, it was something wrong on mine. It's evidently terribly storming out there, and it put out the electricity like twice. So
oh,
something must be up with this movie. I mean, it's terrifying. Anyway,
yeah, could be a
so
haunted
we
movie.
were getting to the point where we were starting to see this devilish-looking character. Um, what did you what did you think of the devilish-looking character?
Well, actually, we didn't get to know much about the character, or it wasn't really explained what it was like. Was it the actual devil, or just some other kind of monster brought from another dimension or something? Maybe we should watch another movie by this director in order to figure it out. Uh, uh, I don't know, but it's interesting because the first time we saw this character was, if I remember correctly, when Harlan found Isaac in the room and Isaac was acting all strange, and we thought that Isaac might be dead and that it was just his ghost or something. And then the devil character appearing kind of made us think. That Isaac really is dead, but then we had much less predictable plot twist later on.
Most definitely. I mean, Isaac was definitely talking quite strangely and almost absent-mindedly, like he was in a daze or a trance or something like that. Um,
Or so it seemed.
what did I mean? To me, it almost was like he was in his own world, like he wasn't quite here and wasn't quite there.
Yeah, that was the impression we were getting.
And then Harlan ends up going and looking for his friend Ray, and Ray was hiding underneath a jacket or something like that. Um,
Uh, a towel, I think.
a towel.
Uh,
So, what what was your reaction to Ray and how he was acting or reacting to the situation?
well, actually, I thought at the first moment when Ray appeared with the towel on his head and so on, I thought something had gotten him, and I don't know, like there could be something monstrous growing from the back of his head or something. I thought he was hiding something like that with the towel. I expected something like that to happen, but. It turned out he was afraid of the devil character who was there in the room. Uh,
Correct. And this appearance of death is apparently a vision of death that seems to be showing up near every person who seems to be dying's death.
yeah.
Not just a hallucinogen, but um, when Ray ran out of the house and outside into the snowstorm, What were your thoughts then?
Well, I actually thought we weren't going to see him again, as it was said earlier that it was very dangerous to go outside, and yeah, we didn't see him again, or at least not in his human form, in his living form.
Yeah, because ultimately Ray comes back. Well, actually, after a little while, because Harlan, he ends up being the only one left, and then it seems like everyone who oh, we haven't touched on the fact that Lay is in fact searching for her dog because her dog has disappeared, and she is being haunted by Ursula, who ultimately seems to be playing some games with her dog, and
Mm.
her dog comes into the room, goes out of the room, and you see her dog floating in midair
Oh
over
yeah.
over the staircase. What did you think about that scenario?
Well, at first I found it kind of sad that the dog had apparently died, or so it seemed at that moment. Later on, we found out the dog was actually alive, which I was kind of glad to see. But yeah, it was a pretty interesting moment, and when Ursula's ghost transformed into the devil character or death or whatever that thing was. Yeah, that was pretty scary, and yeah, the way Lee's character ended was well, kind of gruesome.
Yes, it was to be um, led out on over the staircase just to try to get her precious pooch,
Mm, yeah.
her Snooky Wookums.
Yeah. Well,
So,
the dog was cute.
well, ultimately, after that is when we, well, and that's when we come back to Harlan's character. Now, after Harlan sees his buddy Ray go out, I think he realizes that he's alone, and then he gets chased down by these zombified looking um, people who look like the ones that were his friends who are now deceased.
Oh, yeah.
And he gets trapped in a room upstairs, and Ray appears to him in like an angelic form. What did you think about that?
Well, that was a pretty impacting moment, and yeah, I was wondering if that was really Ray's ghost or some hallucination or something created in order to trick Harlan and lure him out of the room where something would kill him.
Yeah, and he said everything would be okay. Uh, was it?
It wasn't.
And he's like, Harlan just opened the door. And so Harlan eventually opens the door, and there doesn't seem to be anyone there. Goes down, checks the bodies. They're all in their respective places. And he goes to the window. He looks out at the storm, and he turns around, and what does he see?
I think he sees it's still raining, right? But then he
What does
turns
he
around
see when
and
he turns around?
death or the devil or whatever it is.
And someone, I don't know who, but someone said that this person may have actually showed up in one of that director Arthur's um,
Oh,
film called
oh,
The Angel of Death, which he had mentioned earlier. What
oh
do you
yeah,
think about that aspect?
yeah, someone mentioned it. I can't remember who it was, but now that you say it, as we know that there is a connection between this movie and the monster from Phantom Lake. Now it makes me wonder if this could have been a reference to a movie that actually exists. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. Having seen many of the films of Mims, it's not unlike him to eventually maybe bring him back in another movie in the future. The
Uh,
Angel of Death character. Maybe he will actually do something about something and actually make the movie that he proposed that the director had actually made in this film. Who knows? it,
could be.
it can be done.
I mean, in this movie, we did see Michael Kaiser and his face overgrown with leaves. And in this movie, we didn't get to know the real meaning of it, but it's explained in The Monster from Phantom Lake. And the same way, this character was left kind of unexplained, which makes me wonder if we can find him in another movie.
And again, it makes me wonder if having watched this movie has turned myself into a ghostly apparitch because how many times I've made some disappearing acts. uh, but that is to be known maybe if you watch this movie to see if what happened to me will happen to you.
Oh, scary.
So, ladies and gentlemen, men, we are now going to go into our favorite scenes. What was one of your favorite scenes?
Oh, uh, well, I would say I really like the scenes with Lee and the puppy. There were some interesting twists, and with Ursula's appearances and everything. I also liked the whole thing about Michael Kaiser because I know him from the other movie, so that was pretty interesting to see. And let me think. Oh, well, of course, the ending when we found out the truth about the whole thing. That was. You saw my reaction, didn't you?
Ladies and gentlemen, before we move on, of course, we are going to spoil the shit out of this movie. So,
Yeah, which we have already more or less done, except for the most mind-blowing plot twist, which we haven't touched yet. But
and what was that mind-blowing twist? The fact that it was actually actually a manufactured government uh, related experiments tests
yeah,
on humanity.
yeah, that was something I really didn't expect. Like, they were mentioning some war against communists or something like that, from what I remember. And it turned out the machine was planned to become a weapon or something. And the guy who designed the machine actually didn't know what was going to happen. He thought it was just going to scare those people, but after he made it, someone else altered it and actually turned it really dangerous. It wasn't truly elaborated on what exactly, how exactly they altered the machine, but if we connect some details, we can figure out that the machine really did open a portal to another dimension or something. As I mean, at the end, they didn't explain if what the characters were seeing were hallucinations or real ghosts, but we can figure out the ghosts were real because otherwise there would be no explanation to why Ursula saw Michael with leaves on his face. As there was no way she could have known what happened to him, which we know from the monster from Phantom Lake.
True.
The whole, yeah. So we can figure out the machine really did open a portal to another dimension. Uh,
Well, according to the guy, and it so happens that the host was all involved with it too. Isaac was involved,
yeah, yeah. That was.
and we never saw the butler and what happened to him.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that kind of made me wonder. I thought we possibly did see it, but I just forgot or something, as it tends to happen to me the first time I watch a movie.
No, but we are made well aware that he was taken care
Oh, yeah,
of.
yeah.
There was some tongue-in-cheek dialogue. I mean, throughout the film, and that's what I liked. The dialogue was pretty good
Indeed.
for the film. So I don't see how this film got as many bad remarks as it had gotten, and I think it deserves a more well thought through. Well, not, you don't really have to think about these movies, this movie, all that much to enjoy it. I think if you
Well,
sit back, relax, and enjoy it, you'll be able to enjoy it to the best of its abilities. And maybe the intro was a little bit long, but I imagine at the very beginning, I imagine that he really did give out these fear shields that he was talking about
oh, yeah, yeah.
at the theater, kind of like what William Castle would have done.
Uh,
And it just so happens that the general's last name is General Castle.
oh,
Did you
yeah.
realize that?
Yes, yes.
So, in a sense, it was kind of a tribute and a send off to William Castle himself. And we watched a couple of his films, have we not?
Yeah, we have. Uh, which ones? Which ones of the ones we saw were his? I'm not sure anymore.
The House on Haunted Hill, the original,
Yes.
with Vincent Price and the woman who played Annabelle Lawrence. That was one of his, and then 13 Ghosts was
Oh,
the original one was another of his.
yeah.
So we have watched a few of those. There's actually only one William Castle production that I do not have yet that I wouldn't mind checking out eventually once I have the money for it.
I'm sure you'll get to it eventually.
Eventually. But I guess it's called A Spirit is Willing. But I have a majority of films that were done by him, and eventually I do plan on attacking those with you. So,
Oh, cool.
but in any case, I would have to say that my favorite scenes. Okay. One of them is the part where uh, Mary almost like throws up in her mouth,
Oh, oh yeah.
uh, and she's like, "No, I'm not that drunk. I am that drunk."
Yeah, that's it. Kind of made us think that the voices she were hearing maybe really were in her head. I mean, it is a horror movie, so we normally expect that when
I did
someone's
enjoy her character. I mean, I did kind of feel somewhat sorry for her when she died, or when she because even though okay, she was quite rude to her husband. uh,
uh,
she I don't think she entirely deserved death.
oh no, no, she didn't.
Although they made it seem like it was because of her that her mother starved instead of the other way around, the way that she was saying that it wasn't her problem fault for her commitment, and they it made it seem the fact that her mother had come back from the dead to say, why did you starve me, why, those questions,
Hmm.
but made me wonder if it really was a legitimate okay, we put her in we got her some help in a mental institution to try to get her some help instead of like a straight starvation thing, you know. It made me wonder
Yeah.
if she really did and was committed, you know.
Uh, yeah, good question. We don't really know the truth.
I mean, we
Good
know what
point.
they
Yeah.
say happened, but and the other, I think the other moment was when Arthur went down to the basement and he got all those creepy crawlies.
Uh,
Even though I know that many of those were rubber crawlies,
yeah, the idea is still there.
and I guess another moment is I kind of like the part where Harlan actually had a line that was kind of cool, where he called them, go away, you after dark ghoulies, or I forget
Uh,
exactly what he said,
yeah, I don't remember exactly, but yeah, it was a funny moment.
or at least a funny dialogue moment. So other than that,
Yeah, yeah.
as far as the music goes, let me pull up the IMDb here for a moment. See who actually did the music. What did you think about the music? Do you think it uh went with the film?
Well, it did, yeah. I would
Well,
say it did.
the way the film it was a somewhat of a 1950s ish looking film. It was
Mm,
that's what Christopher Mihm does. He does a lot of films that bring back like the 50s, you know.
yeah,
So
I noticed that the monster from Phantom Lake.
and where this film was filmed was in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So let's see, were there any quotes? No. And apparently this was estimated at a budget of $3,000. So being only 3 grand, um, do you think that they did rather well?
Well, yes, yes, definitely.
I don't think this film terrified me. I mean, I do think the special effects on the bugs in the basement was done rather well. I think because of the flashy moments, and I think there might have been something like a lamp or something to that effect that it made those bugs look like they were going up his body and stuff. I think I know how it was done, but the way that it was done was actually really done well to me. It, it gave it the effect that it needed. and I think it works well for the film.
Mm, yeah, I mean, it's a B movie. Not everything has to be perfect. And honestly, when people insult B movies because the effects weren't perfectly realistic and so on, I really don't like to read that kind of comments. I mean, like. These movies were made by people like you and me they did the best they could with what they had at their disposition. They did their best. They put their enthusiasm and effort into that movie. And whenever someone goes to insult such a movie before they do it, they should think, would I be able to do better? And if
Correct.
they would, if
A lot of these people don't think about okay, if I had the money to do it, how would they do it? Would they do anything different? Okay, how so? How would you make it different? These kind of things. I mean, these are the kinds of questions some of the viewers need to. Um, so I personally think anyone who is a viewer of this film, they need to think about okay, if you could do the movie, what would you do differently, and how would you do it? You know,
uh, indeed, indeed.
that
I
kind
mean,
of thing. I mean, could you pull it off like this man did on $3,000?
well, yeah, like if there are unrealistic effects in some high budget Hollywood production made by professionals, then yeah, it makes sense to criticize it. But when it's made by an independent filmmaker who is, well, doing their best, and it's when you think about the fact that it's probably a person who did not study to be a filmmaker, who is doing it for a hobby while probably having another job at a company, which is the way they really make a living, then it's not really fair to judge a movie so badly only because some effects aren't perfect. When, like I said, it's made by a person like any of us, and they did the best they could, and they deserve respect for what they do.
Well, and it looks like the creature effects of this particular film were done by someone called Mitch Gonzalez, and he is an actor, and he was an actor of Destination Outer Space, Attack of the Moon Zombies, The Giant Spider, Danny Johnson Saves the World, Where's Speedo, Nazi Hunter, and Queen of Snakes. He was a producer of Guns of the Apocalypse, the late night double feature, and House of Ghosts. He was a special effects guy behind House of Ghosts, Attack of the Moon Zombies, The Giant Spider, and the late night double feature. So, um, this is the guy who did some of the effects for like the ghosts and the spiders and all that jazz. So apparently he's the guy behind all those effects.
Cool.
So it doesn't really say anything about the music. I'm assuming that it was created by Christopher Mihm for the film, or so on and so forth. So,
Could be.
but other than that, do you have anything else that you would like to add to this film that we may not have mentioned?
Oh, oh, let me think. Uh, well, I think we processed every character and what happened to them. Did we miss anyone? I can't remember.
I mean, Ursula, we kind of learned as it went along, and I think because Ray didn't know, Lay and Mary kind of busted out with the fact that her son actually killed his wife, and he eventually mutated into the creature from the lake. And I like the fact that, oh, there was a line that
Oh,
Ray said, and he was like, "Isn't that lake where those detectives ride in canoes?
oh yeah.
Those guys are really cool."
Yeah, and we saw the big monster from Phantom Lake, and we saw what happened to them.
So, in any case, other than that, I think that's.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Uh, oh yeah, now when you mentioned Ursula, I remembered. I actually found it really surprising when she died so early into the movie. I mean, there was this whole thing about her wanting to get in contact with her son and so on, and I thought she would be a more relevant character. So when she suddenly went out like that, that was
Well, and
surprising.
speaking of Ray was played by Justin Overlander, and I was looking at his um he played in Corporate Punishment, a video short film, The Monster of Phantom Lake, Terror from Beneath the Earth, Icebreaker, Gehenna, A House of Ghosts, Burial Ground, The Bequeather, The Devil's Hour. He evidently did. Oh, he he played in a movie called Crabs, which is a comedy horror just recently. um, Evidently, he played Queen Crab. It's in post production right now, but Strange Nature he played in, which is a drama horror mystery movie by James Ojala. Um, Looks like that might be kind of cool. Um, but yeah, I think he is a director himself of a movie called The Bequeather. Airplane crashes into young Frankenstein in a movie that lays the jokes on thicker than the Arctic molasses. Three sisters must compete together and against each other to uncover a series of clues left behind by their late father in The Bequeather. Sounds kind of ubiquitous.
Yeah.
But I thought I oh, and he plays on NCIS
Oh,
as
wow.
or played on one episode of NCIS. So,
Wow, I didn't know that.
but in any case, other than that, let's see. And I think Harlan has played in a few things too. Michael Cook.
Oh yeah, he looked familiar. I think we saw him in some of Larry Blamire's
Okay,
movies, if I
so
remember
he's
correctly.
been in quite a few things. He was in one episode of The District. He was in Country as a hockey fan. He was in Prison Break in two episodes. He was in
Oh,
a short film called Anthill. He was in a Prairie Home Companion as a radio show fan. He was in The Monster of Phantom Lake as Gustav. He was in The Breakup as an airfare patron. He was in Than Fiction in 2006 as an ER doctor. Um, he was in Fred Claus as an upscale shopper. He was in It Came from Another World by Christopher Mihm as Gustav. Let's see. He was in Terror from Beneath the Earth. He was in Icebreaker. He was in Health Freaks, evidently. He was in Destination Outer Space, House of Ghosts, Attack of the Moon Zombies, The Giant Spider, 2021. Let's see. Fedora, Burial Ground, Huntin' Bigfoot, the late night double feature. Danny Johnson saves the world as the messenger and Gustav. Where Skeeto Nazi Hunter. He was in This Book is Cursed,
Mm.
which is a film by a local director that I know
Oh,
by the name of Michael Butt.
cool.
And he was in Demon with an Adam Brain and Guns of the Apocalypse. So those are he was in quite a few Christopher Mihm
Oh,
movies.
oh, so he wasn't in Larry Blamer's movies. I must have mistaken him for someone else.
No, he wasn't. Uh,
Huh.
let's see, and the guy who played Michael G. Kaiser also played the deputy.
Oh, that's him.
I guess.
Huh. Interesting.
I guess he plays the monster of Phantom Lake, and he played in It Came from Another World, Cave Women on Mars, Terror from Beneath the Earth, Destination Outer Space, Attack of the Moon Zombies, House of Ghosts, The Giant Spider, the late night double feature, Danny Johnson Saves the World, Where Skeeto Nazi Hunter, Demon with the Atom Brain, Guns the Apocalypse, and Queen of Snakes. So,
Oh, cool. Mm.
but in any case, other than that, I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's all the time we have for today, folks. So, thank you for
Yeah,
listening to our ramblings on this film. Like,
yeah.
share, and subscribe. Definitely check
Mm.
out the other film discussion on the monster from Phantom Lake, because if you do not check out that movie, you may not be able to watch this movie, and maybe that's why some people misunderstood the film. So,
Oh,
uh,
could be.
in any case, thank you for listening. Have a great day, evening, and morning wherever you are. Um,
Yeah, thank you for listening and sorry about the glitches and everything.
Next week, we're going to have another movie where we are going to go on about it and watch another film in black and white, because this film was in black and
Ooh,
white. And let me just show you this movie one more time so you can maybe catch it out there in the wild. House of Ghosts. But the next movie that we're going to go on about, hopefully you don't mind, is called House of the Wolfman.
oh, cool.
Another independent feature, but definitely not by this director. So, in any case, uh, stay tuned, and we'll have some more exciting stuff to talk about next week. Thank you,
Yeah,
and
thank you
good night.
all. Good night.